This is what's the official name of this panel? It's Cook, Price, and Heckle Omai. Breckle. I'm sorry. How to start your panel. Make a complete idiot out of yourself. Great. So I'm Tweak, and over there, the Ancient One, Silvermane.
Hello, everybody. How you doing tonight? Glad to be here.
Tonight, dude, it's 11:45 in the morning.
It's night somewhere.
He's an old man. He needs his nap. Anyway, we are joined by some very talented people here. They are the minds and the hands behind the My Little Pony comic series. We have Andy Price. Yes, you gotta remember they're artists. They live off of praise. We got Katie Cook.
Hey, everybody. Woo. Damn right. If it's not louder than Andy's, I'm going to be really mad.
Better do it.
And then Heather Breckle.
Yeah. Ponies.
Ponies, always for the ponies.
Ponies.
I forgot my little question cheat sheet. So, I dropped something. Don't worry about that. That's fine. We're only live on the internet. No one cares. Okay, so I believe everyone out here has read the comics, yes?
Yes.
No one just wandered in for the random people, I'm going to follow them? Okay, good. So, how many of the comics, because I know that there's been several other artists and writers that have worked on it, how many of them have been this trio right here?
Issues 1 through 4, the Return of Chrysalis arc is us, the Rarity Micro, the Big Mac arc, and the upcoming Shining Armor and Cadence, and a micro that we have not announced yet.
Ooh.
And then along with God knows how long this is going to go on. So,
And
Forever.
also, I'm the only one. I've been on the most issues. I'm on 1 through 12. I believe I'm also going to be up to 14. I'm also on the Rarity and Applejack micros.
have you mentioned what you do yet?
Yes. The colorist, and he's also the inker, so of course I have to ask, what's it like being a tracer?
I'm not an inker, actually.
Yeah.
He's the inker. I'm just the colorist.
I'll go then I'll ask you then.
Yeah, it's so funny. We had this conversation beforehand. Heather is the colorist who does all the amazing, amazing colors on Andy's inks and pencils and amazing stuff, and makes us look like we do a lot more work than
Like we actually know what we're doing.
Makes us look good.
And then I just write the words.
You get the easy job.
Yak, 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 yak.
You probably take the most heat, though.
I do. I'm the one that gets the most notes.
Like, you got this character out of character.
What's
wrong with you?
I get all the emails.
So, speaking of all of that, I noticed that especially in the later arcs, there's a whole lot of movie references and all these things going on in the background that's just in the artwork. I'm wondering two things. Number one, do you collaborate on that, or is that all the artist things? And do you have to get permission to include those sort of movie references and stuff?
It depends on what it is. We go back and forth. There are things that Katie will say in the script deliberately. And then beyond that, while I'm working on the art, Katie and I are constantly texting. I'm going to do this. I dare you. You go right ahead. Yeah.
It's like I double dog dare you.
You know, like for example, in issue 1, the Blues Brothers, that was me. But in issue 4, with all the series of doors with the horror film references, that was really Katie going, okay, what movie? She texted me, what movies do you like? And we went back and forth, and then she was like, okay, we want this, we want Pennywise from It, we want the Phantom of the Opera. But this is what divides men and women. And in Phantom of the Opera, she had, come with me, my darling. So she's like, okay, the Michael Crichton, Andrew Lloyd Webber Phantom. That's girls. I'm like, no, Lon Chaney. It's got to be the Lon Chaney pony. That's guys. So, but we do collaborate. We go back and forth on specific ideas. Some are mine, some are hers. It just depends on what we want to do.
People need to remember that Andy and I have been friends for years before we started doing this comic. So it's like working on a comic with your buddy. And
have you done any other comics together?
Oh God, we'd kill each other if we did anything else. No, it's just we've known each other from cons and hanging out, and Andy has stayed at my house He knows my cats. You know,
Hey, that's a big step in friendship, is getting to know the cats, because the
Yes.
cats they'll kill you if they don't like you.
Could you tell us real quick how you got involved with doing it for My Little Pony? Were you approached, or did you approach IDW to start this? And did you expect it to get it as big as it is?
Well, I'll start that one because I was approached by IDW first, and the editor is a fan of my work, and we've wanted to do some stuff for a while, and he really likes my webcomic, so he emailed me one day and said, would you like to do ponies? And I said, okay. And that is the entirety of how I got to do the pony comic. That is the whole story.
Truly an emotional journey.
It was. It is. It
an
was
epic
tears.
quest of self-discovery.
It's a trilogy, actually.
Kate Blanchett is going to be portraying her in the film version.
Oh wow. We couldn't get Leo DiCaprio, but we'll get someone.
And
As
unfortunately, they
Galadriel.
cast Jim Belushi for me.
Yeah.
I thought Paul Giamatti was up for it, and that was just...
Oh, you mentioned making the horror movie references, so I have to ask, of course, what are your favorite horror movies? Because in the book we had The Shining, It, Temple of Doom, which is awesome.
In issue 4, we reference Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Stephen King's It, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The
Shining.
1929 Phantom of the Opera, The Shining, Stephen Kubrick's The Shining, or Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and
Evil Dead was there as well. They had the
yes,
closed door.
Evil Dead 2 specifically, and there's another one. I'm missing one.
Yeah. There's Invasion of the Body Snatchers in one.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers in issue 1 was basically the theme of the whole story, really.
Yeah.
But as far as a favorite horror film, I don't know if I can pick one, because I'm a very big horror aficionado, especially classic horror, Universal Monsters, Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff. But The Changeling with George C. Scott is probably one of the creepiest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites is I really like the more obscure ones. I really like Suspiria, and
It's Dario Argento, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, his stuff's great. I also really like Inside, which is one of the only movies to really horrify me because there's a scene that they kill a cat and I can't watch it.
Yeah. We can eat your soul, and that's fine, but don't kill the cat.
Yeah, for me, it's I like things that are more psychological thrillers. So for me, it's stuff like The Shining and
Like Seven and movies like that.
yeah, things that kind of put me on the edge of my seat and make me uncomfortable.
Aha.
You know? Like, what's in the box?
Okay, so we noticed all these movie references in the background, and we were talking about earlier about the one particular character that is an insert of a friend of yours. I wanted to know, I think it was issue 2 when they go in the cave and they meet the cave troll. Pretty pony, I will suck his head and call him Judge.
Yeah,
I just have to, of course, ask: Are you trying to say something to us?
No,
Is
it's
that a message you see?
Everyone that said, "Oh, she's making fun of bronies," or "That's a shout out to bronies," no, I am making fun of Jim Miller, who is he was the lead storyboard artist on My Little Pony, and now he is the assistant director for season 4. His nickname is Big Jim. He's just a big guy, and I said, "I'm going to put you in the comics." So I wrote him as a troll, and then Andy
Naturally
designed the troll. And so that is we are making fun of a specific brony, not bronies in general.
No.
Aha. Okay.
And unfortunately, when that came out, a lot of people was like, oh,
Mad.
well, these guys are just making fun of us. And we actually had some people drop the book at that point. Like,
Yeah.
no,
It's like, no,
it's
I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of that guy who I've known for years, and I'm allowed to.
Well, I mean, you can't really blame us because he's big, he's dumb, and he plays.
That
with
is
Lil
you
Wiggle
making
running-
fun of yourself right
You
now.
said that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm saying, okay. If,
He just
hold
insulted
up,
all
hold
of
up
you.
now. Just let's hold the phone. Driver, stop. Pump the brakes a little bit here, and we're gonna move on before I embarrass myself any further. So, okay.
Not me.
Yes.
All right, getting back on track a little bit. What I'd like to ask, since I
We're on track.
enjoy writing, when you guys do the story arcs, do you have it all planned out in advance, exactly where it's going, or does it kind of take over sometimes and lead you in a strange little directions?
For me, it's, I have to pitch all 4 issues itself to Hasbro first and kind of tell them where the arc is going. And then I write them, you know, one after the other. And sometimes it leads me in a different direction. And sometimes they get really, really crazy. I cannot, at the moment, in case you did not know, I am 5 months pregnant. So my writing is going to be...
Congratulations.
Yeah, very... That's why I am not fat, I am pregnant right now. Everybody should realize that.
A little brony in the oven. How sweet.
But my writing is very, very different for the upcoming arcs because there is not 2 bottles of wine in every issue.
Wow. I think the child wouldn't understand. I had to drink while I was pregnant with you because, hey, ponies.
Anybody who loves the Rarity Micro, there is 2 very nice bottles of Malbec in that book that my parents paid for, so I was like, of course I'm going to drink 2 bottles of wine in one day and write a comic about ponies for little girls.
That's what you do. Now, you mentioned having the kick thing, have to run things past Hasbro. So, of course, the question comes up, what is it like working with the evil corporate overlords of Hasbro? The demonic, soulless corporation that only wants to kill ponies.
They're delightful, and they're not demonic overlords. They're people that are protecting their property, and they're allowed to do whatever the hell they want because it's theirs.
Gasp!
This is actually something that sticks in our craw quite a bit with a lot of the fan community that honestly believe Hasbro is bad to the franchise or they're the evil overlords. And I'm like, you know what? You wouldn't have this if it wasn't for Hasbro. This is a 31-year-old franchise, and it's their property. I mean, if you don't like what they do, then why are you here? I mean, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's the honest fact.
And it's when people get mad because they shut down an Etsy store that's charging X amount of money for something. It's because they're, what is it? The place that did the great 3D printing.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but I remember, yeah.
It's because they've started putting out stuff through We Love Fine and whatnot of 3D ponies. They're protecting their own license and their own property. You can't get mad at somebody for that.
The one thing everyone always points to is fighting is magic, how they let it get so far and then shut it down. And the knee-jerk reaction is that, that's them being sadistic. No, it's because
the second you start advertising and saying that we're going to have a profit for this, you get shut down.
Exactly.
You get a cease and desist.
They started getting big, and that's that if they don't protect this, they'll have to let other things go, and it's how you lose
It's
your
not simply a matter of profits. It's not a matter of, well, these people are making money, so we're going to stop it. It's not just money that comes into it. There are legalities of intellectual property in separate publications. Somebody can start putting out a particular Twilight Sparkle merchandise, and in the eyes of the law, if they get to a certain degree, they can actually take away a trademark from a parent company. It has happened in the past. It happened almost with Marvel losing Wolverine to an independent comic.
Yep.
And at that point, that's when the lawyers start coming out like, this is our property and we must protect it. So they're just doing their job.
And Hasbro's been pretty good to us. Like, I mean, we've gotten away with like so much. It's like
Yeah.
issue 9, I can't believe they let us do all that stuff with Sweetie Belle and the fireworks.
I don't think they even...
I was like, this is imitatable. Like when I was coloring it, I was like, did they look at the comic?
We do get a lot of notes from Hasbro. There are, okay, you can't do this, or can you do this, or whatever.
Katie, what were you thinking?
Maybe you shouldn't have had that second bottle of wine.
Right.
Issue
Just saying.
3.
If you were a fly on the wall in the room with Katie and I talking, Hasbro, and that's just us being divas. It really is.
How dare they not let me do this?
How dare you question my brilliance?
But they
I
are
wanted to have the
very
red
good to
wedding
work
in
with.
this scene. What's wrong with them?
Everyone dies.
Yeah, they did nix the issue where we were going to kill off Rainbow Dash, but
No, I wouldn't have allowed that.
Applejack
We
was
would've
just going to
gotten
lead her
another
out into the
colorist.
pasture. Come on,
It
sugar
would have been
cube.
black and white. Rainbow Dash sprains her ankle, and Applejack leading her out with a
has to take-
shotgun. We're gonna have to put you down, Rainbow.
Spoiler alert. It's okay.
Hey,
It's okay.
more original than cupcakes.
I
I have
always
Pinky on my
worried-
shoulder. I had to say that.
I always worried when someone, like a brony, handed me like a cupcake, and I was like, I hope that there's no pony parts in this.
The story is ruined so much.
Made
Like I was
from real pony.
like for the army birthday, they served cupcakes, and one of them was rainbow colored, and I was like,
No.
I got so sad for a minute. Now, getting back to, you said that all the characters in the book are very well in character, and that's probably the biggest strength of the show. I feel is that the characters are so believable and real, and that translated so well into the comics. I just want to know, what kind of research did you do? Did you just watch all the episodes, or did you like ask people, or how did you prepare to write for all these characters?
I was a fan before I was asked to write the comic.
Oh, really?
One of the reasons that Bobby asked me is because I was talking on Twitter going, why aren't more people watching this show? Because my older brother told me to start watching it.
It's like, I think we were all fans of the show
Yeah.
beforehand. It's like, that's how I got the job.
And then when, like I said, Andy and I have been friends for years, and I passed him at C2E2, which is a show in Chicago, and he had all this pony art on his table, and I was already on record to write it, and we were really kind of trying to think of an artist, and he had this great Applejack piece out on his table, and all of these pony things, and I looked at him and was like, you brony bastard, where's this been hiding? And he had samples to me the next Monday, basically, and he was on the book days later. I mean, that's how perfect he was, that after all of this hemming and hawing, after sending Hasbro just a couple of drawings, it's like, yep, that guy. Let's make that happen.
So you said your older brother got you into the show. How did you, Heather and Andy, how did y'all get into the show?
A friend of mine actually got me into the show when Thanksgiving. We gather a lot with friends at Thanksgiving, and she was telling us, you really need to watch My Little Pony and get into the brony community, and that was a brand new word at the time. And I was like, I'm not going to watch that. That's for girls. And my wife gave in, and she's like, okay, I'm going to watch an episode. And she's like, and I think everybody can relate to the first episode you watch, you're like, okay, show me another. Okay.
We'll give this a shot.
Just one more, man.
Yeah, you watch it, you kind of feel like, one more. One
I can
more.
quit anytime I want.
This is brilliant.
And I would like to point out that my husband, who for a long time was like, oh God, I'm not watching this, I will sometimes catch him with our daughter is now somewhere else in the house playing, and he's still watching the episode that they were watching together.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, you bastard. And he has opinions on who is best pony. Yeah. He hates Fluttershy, which is why he's a donkey in the comics.
Ooh.
Yeah, when I found out that Ryan did not like, I mean, he honestly dislikes
He has opinions
Fluttershy.
about Fluttershy.
So I put him in issue 1 as a mule.
Yeah. He's the mule in the bonsai hat with the unibrow. His name's Cranky Doodle Ryan. So if anybody wants to do some fan art of that, that would make me very happy.
But he's the one that hates Fluttershy, and he's the one that made it onto the Hot Topic Chrysalis show.
Yeah, hold up, Hot Topic. Because my husband is lording that over everybody at this table. It's like, yeah, well, I'm on a shirt at Hot Topic.
Well, so are you.
Yeah, but I'm like this big, and I'm laughing at him, so that's fine.
So what about you, Heather? How did you sort of how did you get sucked into all this madness?
Oh, well, it was like two things. I'm an animation fan for life. I was already following Cartoon Brew. So that's how I found out about it. And I saw the promo art, and I thought it was kind of silly. It's like, growing up, I was never into girly stuff. I was more into Ninja Turtles and Transformers and He-Man.
Yeah.
And my sister was the My Little Pony fan. I mean, I watched some of the show growing up, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'm an animation fan, and I went into it like, I thought, well, this might be kind of lame because girl shows were always really stupid. Like growing up, I thought they were always really dumb. And Lauren Faust and other people are working to change that. Mm-hmm. And I checked it out, and I'm like a big anime fan, big Sailor Moon fan growing up. And the first episodes really reminded me of like the magical girl stuff that I love. So that's why I stuck with it, even though I felt those first 2 episodes aren't as strong as the rest of the series. That's what hooked me. I was like, magical girls in like a real like American cartoon. This is awesome.
Canadian.
What madness is this?
Yeah. Canadian cartoon.
Yeah, true.
We have so little, you have to let us keep something.
Yeah, technically there's like no American
We
cartoons
have
these
ponies
days.
and Celine Dion.
That's a.
We don't.
already stole Shatner.
We don't comp to that.
You have bacon.
America can.
Bacon
We
and
have
maple syrup.
Canadian bacon, and that is a
kind of goodies have you
poor
Oh, I would
substitute.
just, the main thing I wrote down, left in the room. 11, so I would
So
What?
what?
like
Do you have a
They're
question
having
or
a
not?
private conversation and
Yeah,
leaving out the
yeah,
group.
super secrety.
Maybe you need to turn your hearing up so you can hear what we're all saying.
I just had the implant, so I'm fine.
Yeah. Oh, he's fine. He loves it. He loves the abuse.
What I was going to ask was to Katie is, did you ever write something and say, all right, Andy, let me see you draw this?
Every page.
Every page. Basically, I try and put something in every script that Andy's gonna send me an angry text over.
Now, with issue 4, she sent in the script for issue 4, the MC Escher staircase in Chrysalis's castle. And
Which every artist wants to draw.
the editor honestly wrote her, I thought you liked him.
Because it's on a few pages.
And then when I got the script, she texted me, haha, and started sending me photos of staircases for hours.
I think
Then she says to herself, how can I top that? And then I get the script for the upcoming issue 11 with Shining Armor and Cadence. Ooh. And I get to page 11, and the first thing is on the page, Andy, don't kill me. I have children. Page description in the middle of the page description, please don't kill me. Finish the page description, I'm sorry. The I'm sorry is a lie. She's in Michigan.
But yeah, I get a lot of notes from the editor going, I thought you guys were friends.
How could you?
I think my favorite part is like whenever I get a page from Andy and he's like, I hope you're ready for this. This is going to be so hard to color. And I mean, I already did James Stokoe's work on Godzilla Half Century War, and I'm just like, this is nothing, Andy.
Yeah.
You have no idea. This is easy.
Every issue. Now, I really have to say, if this book belongs to anybody in particular, it's Heather's book, more so than ours.
Aw, thank you.
Heather has been on more issues than anybody involved in the team outside of our editor, of course. But anytime I get, I mean, you guys have seen, I'm drawing, you know, the Blues Brothers like this, and Magnum PI is over here, and Twilight Sparkle is way in the background. There's every star on her butt. And I tell Heather, here you go. And I'm surprised she's not blind, really.
You get used to
And
it.
also, Heather saves our butt on our deadline every issue.
Because Andy and I are never on time.
No.
It's like, I think like Rarity, I had like 3 days to like color most of the issue, and I recently quit my day job. I was working at Starbucks for 9 years, and I had work the next morning, and I think I had got like 2 hours of sleep, like finishing up the Rarity micro, and
That was a good thing you had all that caffeine.
yeah,
I
and
know,
then
right?
like, well, like the next issue, I'm sure will be really tight. I don't know when that's gonna happen, and I'm like, now that I don't have a day job, I'm like, I can do this all in a day. It'll be all right, Andy. Don't worry. My hand might fall off, but it's all right.
You got two. You'll be fine. No,
like-
yeah. Just draw with your elbow like that.
Yeah.
Be fine.
I have cats. So
You can be
Of
like
course,
a,
there
They
you
can
go.
do it for me.
Yeah, it can be in
That's the
pony
secret.
and
The
hold
cats do it.
The tablet pen in your mouth, and
Yeah.
try
I have
Heather,
a
on
friend that
the,
draws with his mouth, so.
he's just doing that to be pompous.
Heather, on the, let's say the background ponies, how much, do you get to pick the colors of them, or is that all figured out before you get the drawings from Andy?
Well, sometimes Andy will have specific notes for me. Amy Meberson on the second arc, like, she would like have this awesome system where she would take it into Photoshop and use the note feature and like plop a note on one panel, plop a note on a panel, and like tell me exactly which pony was which. unless it's like a specific character, usually I'm left to my own devices. Like sometimes I'll like sneak little references, and they're like, oh, I'm like, oh, there's a female unicorn pony with short hair. That's me. So I'm usually not in the background. So I'm like, I had to put myself somewhere.
Have you ever tried to see, let's see how garish and loud and visually unappealing I can make this random character in the background?
Well,
like hot pink fur and neon green mane or something like that?
Well, I mean, in college,
I probably just described someone's favorite pony. I'm sorry.
there's many
Describe
OCs.
4 OCs in this room.
Yeah, right.
Someone's gonna get up and walk out of the room.
Speaking of OCs, real quick, I know that on one of the panels in the first book, y'all included your own OCs?
Yeah.
In the, I know you said your husband is the mule, which that's the ultimate sign of affection, I feel. But have you ever done anything like that? Like any of your other friends, other than the cave troll guy?
Cats.
I have.
Our cats.
There's cats in there.
In issue 1, page 3, the first big splash of Ponyville, that's where I am, my wife is, Katie is, and all 6 of our cats are on there. That's also where you see, cameos from characters of the show, Snowflake and Mayor and Screwball and things like that. And that was the page. That was the page where we really set the tone of like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. But as far as putting OCs in things like that, we really
Keep it to a
stay away.
minimum.
Yeah, because that can also run into, quite frankly, if I put his OC in, then I got to put their OC in, then I got to put their OC in,
Like
and
some
then
people
quite
got
frankly,
mad about Sibsy being in there. Like Amy put Sibsy in a few pages.
Well,
I think.
Sibsy's from the show. Sibsy's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
established
No, like, why are they putting
character.
Sibsy in there? How dare they? Why
She
aren't
was
they
an
putting my
established
OC
character.
in it?
But aside from that,
offended.
aside from that, when it comes to OCs, we can actually get into legal problems. So we apologize in advance.
'Cause
We
we-
cannot put you in our
Because
comic.
we do get a lot of emails saying, will you put my OC in? And one person that asked me, can you put my OC in and give him a speaking line? This is the tone that I write him in. And I was like,
Yeah.
No.
That's along the lines of, will you read my fan fiction?
Also, on
$1,000.
that note, and this is an important thing, I know you want us to read them. I know you want us to look at them. We cannot read your fan fictions.
I don't read your fan fiction.
And
I'm just going to point that out right now.
because, again, we can run into legal problems. If we end up doing something that is too similar to your story, you can make repercussions, and the book can suffer. Also, the fact that we have enough planned that we don't need anybody else coming in saying, I've got an idea. It's kind of a shame, but we can't do it.
So, but you'll still read mine though, right? I mean, I have this really cool OC red and black alicorn in there that I really think would be. He's a great character, He cries a lot. He writes poetry, and
What
yeah,
did your
it's
male
great.
alicorn do to deserve being a pretty princess?
He listened to Korn.
Listen,
Yeah. He listens to My Chemical Romance and writes poetry. He has really big, thick rimmed glasses. He's great. He's totally original. Shut up. He's original. You be quiet, you. All right,
Whenever someone
right.
shows me their OC and it's an alicorn, it's like, what did you do to deserve it?
Why were you so mad about Twilight being an alicorn?
exactly.
It's like, you tell me what you did to deserve being a princess, and I will draw this. Otherwise, no.
Need a 10-page essay.
You will be an earth pony, which are the lamest of all the ponies.
Ooh. Whoa.
You can't do anything.
Whoa.
Applejack.
What about Best Pony now? Lamb's fighting words.
But she's not as bad as Rainbow Dash. No, it's
Whoa. So,
Well, they're after it.
so how long have you wanted someone to just graffiti your house?
No.
So, because apparently that's what you're asking for.
I like the Ewoks. Everybody can just stop. It's all a bunch of dancing teddy bears in the end. It's fine.
Needless to say, it is clear
Flash
that we do
Sentry is
have
the best
our
character
favorites.
ever.
We do have our favorites, and we like all the ponies. We just like to rag on specific ones.
Right.
And I rag on Rainbow
Every
Dash because
pony
it's my
is
husband's
best
favorite.
pony.
Oh, this is my favorite too, but it's okay. It's like your reason for getting on her is my reason for loving her.
There are-
You're like,
I-
Rainbow Dash is a jerk, but that's why I like her.
I will say there is one pony. I'm not going to say who it is, but there's one pony. I don't care what Katie says. I don't care what Hasbro says. I don't care what our editor says. It will never be in any comic book I draw.
Ooh.
Ever.
Well, now we're gonna have to go inspect your entire run in the comic to find out who's missing.
Never. I think Katie actually kind of agrees on that one.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
All right, now we've been talking about backstories and all this, so I want to know: a button has been pressed, a wand has been waved, a magical fairy dust has been sprinkled, and you are now the immortal Fausticorn. You are the lord of all things pony in the universe, headcanon, canon, fanon, everything. What would you change? What would you like to do if the evil overlords at Hasbro had no control over it, or GHX, what would you want to do? Is there any sort of like fanon or headcanons you would want to throw in there, or would you just nix a character completely? What would you do? You have free reign over everything.
I would make Big Mac and alicorn.
Yeah.
Because he's so...
Are you a princess too?
Yup.
Yup. What did you do to earn that? Oh.
Like, oh, go ahead.
Go.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm just an evil, terrible person that likes grimdark stuff, so everyone would probably die.
A giant cupcake-shaped nuclear explosion
Yeah.
takes out
Like-
Equestria.
It's like one of my favorite things of Games of Thrones. So
Twilight is there with her glasses going, there's time now to read everything, and then the glasses break.
Yes.
Damn!
Yes.
It was time.
There was time now!
like,
I think for me, if I could, there's nothing I would change. I think everything that they've done on the show has been wonderful. But for me, I could limit the book to Luna, Applejack, and Chrysalis, and maybe occasionally have a backup of Rarity, and I'm done.
Three's Company.
That's all we need. The rest of Ponyville can
Dancing
move
jigs of
out.
happiness over there.
I think that would be my ultimate thing. I could just then plots into a mist to find Red Joy. So.
Okay.
Can we pitch a Chrysalis miniseries? That would be sweet.
Yes.
So, what did you guys think of our Return of Chrysalis?
Since I know one of you is gonna ask it, the cute citizens of Wovey Dovey Smoochy Land don't die.
They just go to live on a farm.
Upstate.
A rock.
With that Labrador retriever from the 3rd grade that your parents said is at your aunt's house.
Right.
And yeah.
And they are not cats. They are the cute citizens of Wovey Dovey Land. She
They're
just told you.
adorable things.
So
It says it right there.
you just
Andy
enjoy
and I, of
crush-
all people, would not harm a cat. He has 6, I have 3. I like them more than my husband. I made him a donkey,
And the cat's ponies.
and the cats are delightful.
So at least you know where the ranking is in that household.
Right.
Yeah. So
Cats, everything.
You know,
exactly.
We have already started discussing things for various characters to come up in the book. You know, we have plans way in advance, but it boils down to you guys. You know, as long as you guys keep buying the book, we're going to be able to keep.
Oh, don't
making
worry
it.
about that. Don't worry
So-
about that. Yeah. There will always be a brony with disposable income,
Buy multiple copies. We need the kickbacks.
and
don't get
mostly
any
even
kickbacks.
non-disposable income. Rent, ponies.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like I gotta say, like, well, after like being in the anime fandom for so long and seeing the rampant piracy and like scanlations and fan subs, it's refreshing to see a fandom that wants to spend money.
Yeah, and on that real quick, what have you noticed the biggest difference between going to regular sort of nerd conventions and anime conventions and pony conventions? Have you seen a difference in how people act or with the atmosphere or anything like that?
Well, I've been doing conventions in one form or another since 1982.
That was before I was born.
Yes.
yeah, me too.
Oh, God.
And yeah,
We're live, so I can't say what I want to say.
of course.
But
Our Andy?
we understand.
you watch your
I
mouth.
was gonna say, I think I'm the
Hey,
middle.
get off
I'm
my
in the
lawn.
middle. We might be in like ranking of like oldest to
See,
like youngest over here.
Yeah.
You guys can tell
I can be the
1984.
middle child.
the age of me by looking at reference. If there's a reference in the book that you go, I don't get it, it's because I'm old. The MASH references have flown over everybody's heads.
I got it.
All right, then I'm going to test. Who got the WKRP in references in Rarity?
I
The
see
which
a
one?
huff over there.
The which one?
WKR.
Johnny Fever and Venus Flytrap are in the Rarity Micro.
Yeah.
See, that's 3.
And then there's one person that's seen one episode at Nick at Night in here going, huh.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even seen that.
WKRP.
I'm like,
classic.
I'm
Right.
always like, I don't know
There's a
what
kid
all
one.
this is, Andy.
But
It's like,
I've
I
been-
knew more of Amy's.
I've been going to shows for a lot of years, various shows, comic shows, pop culture shows, etc. And I have to say this fandom is incredible. The Bronies get a lot of flack. I mean, even the Baltimore paper said, there's grown men at a pony convention.
Where?
And it's like, well, you guys are on the outside. It's difficult to understand, but I mean, the Trekkies, the Jedis, the Whovians, everything. There's all kinds of fandoms, and in thinking about it, the Bronies are the closest thing to the original Trek phenomenon.
Yeah.
Which is me.
The immediacy of how quickly the fandom has popped up with the show that's true. That's with Trek and how crazy the fans went at first for something that was new and fresh.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing. That's a great description of like.
I'd like to make.
For example, when people talk about fandom, everybody has their head canon, etc. It was because of you guys that Vinyl Scratch is Vinyl Scratch.
And Derpy.
Hasbro didn't have a name for these guys.
Derpy is the pony with no name.
Oh yeah, the muffin icon. Sorry.
Vinyl Scratch and DJ Pone 3 Pony, whatever. They're both legitimate names. They are both recognized by Hasbro. Her pro name is DJ Pone 3. Her real name is Vinyl Scratch. That is because of fan reaction. In Star Trek, James Tiberius Kirk was never ever said in the course of the original series, but fans knew who he was. And it wasn't until the last appearance of Captain Kirk that they said his name in Star Trek VI. So it took 30-something years, but the fans knew. That's the kind of strength that this fandom has. And Hasbro was paying attention, guys. They really are. And on another note, for those of you that didn't like Equestria
It was
Girls or
all your
whatever,
fault. Oh
it's
my
your
God, you
fault.
have no idea.
All that fan art.
All the fan art of
that
the
human eye,
the
the human
ponies is
equestrian
humanized
Vicky
fan
wrote.
art.
Hasbro looked at that and said, "Oh, this is what they want
They have volumes of fan art.
that they keep."
If you
They're like,
don't
okay,
want it,
this
don't
is
make
what-
pictures of
This
it.
is
Yeah.
what they're looking for. So you guys do have an influence. You really do. So,
Blame it on yourselves.
yeah. But
Take
There
some
is-
responsibility.
there is absolutely no reason to not be proud of this fandom.
Yeah.
We have people all the time asking us, well, I'm afraid to go in a comic shop and ask for a pony comic. Own it. Own it. Be proud of what you are. There is absolutely nothing wrong with liking little pastel-colored Marshmallow Pete ponies.
That's like, on that note, as a girl, throughout the years, I've always had to listen to girls say, I'm afraid to go into a comic store. And, there's nothing scary about liking what you love. So,
Well,
then
then
there's no
it's
problem.
it's a bookstore, guys.
It's a bookstore.
Who is afraid to go into a bookstore? Go on, go buy a book, own it, slam a pony comic down on the register and say, I would like to buy this. If you are that freaked out, say, it is for my kid.
it's like only the manliest
And then
of
go
men
into your car and
will
go,
buy
ha, I
comics.
lied, it's for me.
It's like, you're 16, so it's my daughter.
People have kids at 16. I was in
was
middle
totally
school.
hot at
There's a
14.
TLC show about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Be an MTV special.
We're going to start taking some questions here in a few minutes, but before we do that, let me make one quick editorial. When Andy talked about the original Star Trek fandom, that was me. I remember I was there for the beginning, and I was in the fandom. I'm still in the fandom. I'd like to say that knowing the fandom like I do and knowing the Bronies like I do, you guys are the happiest, most well put together, best fandom I've ever seen in my 42 years, probably, of being a fan. So give yourselves a hand.
Yeah. Silver's, he's been in the military so long, his first chaplain was Jesus.
27 years.
All right, so I think we'll start taking questions.
We're going to
We'll start with
alternate, of course.
You over there.
Hey guys, just want to let you know that Equestria Daily is typing up everything you see there, so there you go. And we're sending your OC
Tell
to the
everyone
mail.
I said sorry.
All right.
I hate Katie Cook.
Andy Price is an awful human being.
They're all jerks.
Applejack is best pony.
One quick thing. This is being live streamed. Please keep it appropriate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next
I
next
heard
question.
Andy Price doesn't like anybody in this room.
The comic isn't canon, so I'm not going to read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, for Katie and Andy, of your work on the Pony comic, what was your favorite gag that you're most proud of? And for Heather, what was your favorite bit to color?
Who wants to start?
Katie starts.
For me, the entirety of the Rarity Micro is my favorite gag.
I think for me is when I can actually crack myself up when drawing a face.
Yeah.
And it has happened a couple times, and I still think my favorite one, because I laughed to tears, is in issue 4 of the Chrysalis arc when Twilight is in her quickening and blasts Chrysalis in Chrysalis's face.
And the gums are showing. It's like the dog sticking its head out the window.
I couldn't finish the drawing because I was laughing so hard. So when I get to do things like that, that's when I'm like, okay, this page is a winner. Price that higher.
I want to keep that.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I have like a tie right now. Issue 3, when the changelings are descending upon lovey-wovey, adorable lands, and I got to do
Lovey-dovey,
like
smoochy land.
the big creepy red sky. I was afraid that Hasbro was gonna like say no, that it was too scary, but they let me do it. And the other one, I couldn't stop laughing during issue 9 when I got to blame my sister. Like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, Luna's t-shirt, for you guys that haven't seen it, Luna's wearing a t-shirt that says blame my sister. So,
And then Glamour Girl or something later on.
Dream Girl, her shirt changes in every single panel, which is based on an old Twilight Zone episode. Dream Girl, Night Moves, Power to the Ponies, Don't Start With Me, You Won't Win. You know, things
That
like
one
that.
killed me too,
So-
because it's like all those ridiculous like Kathy comic mugs.
All right,
No, Luna's
so
great in that issue. I love that.
over there.
Thank you, guys.
Hey guys, I'm just wondering, I haven't been able to find any of the comics in Canada. Are there plans to distribute them there, or do you know where you can find them there?
The comics are slowly going international. We are in Barcelona. We are going to Germany next month.
You can find them in the UK. So my guess is that you're going to have to go to your comic shop and tell them that they're going to have to order it from the US at this point, from Diamond. But I don't think, it's kind of right above us. So my guess is that they can get it.
Isn't Comixology worldwide?
Well, yeah, if
Comixology, you can
can't-
get them digital.
If you can't
really
get
easily.
the physical copy, you can download them digitally on iTunes and Comixology. Needless to say, we want you to get a physical copy. So be sure to ask your local comic shop. And now that they're being collected in trade, they're going to Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. And
Yeah, the trades are in regular bookstores as well, and I know that it's I've seen them in bookstores in Canada when I go across the border. So
And like I do have to say, if you haven't read the physical comics, they are a superior experience. What I see on the monitor when I color is definitely way more beautiful and vibrant in print. So you will get a superior color experience by buying the physical issue, because IDW uses great printers.
Also, when it comes to physical versus digital, our publishers get a better percentage off of physical. They don't really see money off of digital sales. So that can start to affect our sales numbers. So we would prefer you get a physical copy because it's going to keep the book going longer.
you can use it as a coaster when you're done.
Yes.
And it's
Or
hard
you
to
can
autograph
line
a
a
digital
hamster
copy.
cage.
1,001
Yeah, we
uses.
can't sign iPads.
You don't want me to autograph your iPad.
All right, so yes.
Just to add on to the last thing, I live in a really small town in Canada, 100,000 people. You can buy comics locally there, so they are available in Canada.
Okay.
You guys are awesome. I really like how you put in all the little things, like all the facial expressions, all the references. The comics are just so badass and they're canon, which is really cool. My question is, how do you guys interact with the actual show staff to make sure you don't cross the streams canon-wise and don't do something?
That's basically after I send in a script, it goes through Hasbro, and then somebody that works on the show reads it, sends me back notes saying, this counteracts something that happens in season 4, you can't do this, and they'll let me know what to change. And that's happened. And my first pitch for the Rarity Micro that I sent in, they said, this is exactly the plot of a season 4 episode. You can't do it. And I was like,
Spoilers.
oh. I didn't say what it was, but I know what it is.
It's something awesome.
Oh,
That's all
you
have to
evil
do.
tease you.
Well, now I'm going to look at that with the eye of, well, I could have done that.
I could have done that so much better.
Yeah, we do work hard to try to keep everything canonical with the show. We pay attention to little details and things like that. And I'm going to tease you with this. Katie and I have been talking about, okay, what's coming up in the future? What do we want to do? And we were recently talking with Megan McCarthy, the head
At San Diego.
writer at San Diego. And Megan and I were walking to Katie's table, and I tell her the slightest gem of what our idea
I have planned
is.
next.
Yeah, of what Katie's idea is. And Megan stopped dead in her tracks. That is badass.
Wow.
And it is.
And it was not going to come out for a long time now, right?
No.
It's going to be a little while.
So
It'll be
yeah.
a while.
Thank you very much for that. So okay.
Thank you.
Yes, you over there.
First of all, I'm going to say that my favorite story arc so far is the Luna arc, where she's now going to go to the moon to Nightmare Verities. That's my favorite arc. And, how much freedom do you have versus people, those who work on the show themselves? Do you think you have more freedom working on a comic than you would if you were working on the show itself?
I would think he's asking if we think we have more freedom in the comic, and I think that we kind of do in the fact that you can tell a broader story in the 22 pages that you have in a single issue of a comic, or all 4 issues of an arc, all 2 issues of an arc, and we get to play a little bit more. And that's fun. I mean, because everyone else has to condense it down into an episode and make sure that they can tell their entire story. And we've got all those panels that we get to play with. And even then, sometimes still Hasbro goes, no, that's not going to happen.
I think also, we have the advantage of comics is there is no budget restriction. There's no flash animation restrictions, anything like that. If we can,
Time one.
there is a
There's a
time
time.
restriction. But if we can commit it to paper, then we can do it.
And I think that lucky for us, I think Hasbro really trusts the comics team right now, because the script for issue 11 went in, which is the beginning of the Shining Armor Cadence arc, and even our editor kind of went, Katie, what are you doing? And he said, I'm gonna send it, but I expect some notes. And I got an email a few weeks later saying, yeah, no changes.
Yeah, what he actually said was, well, I'm shocked. This is the first script with no comments.
No comments. And
They
it
said
was
go.
something that I said there, I'm going to get fired.
Let's see how far I can push this.
Well, it's not even seeing how far I can push it. It's stupid.
Oh, well,
Because
that
I
works
write,
too.
if in case you haven't noticed, I write things that are stupid.
Stupid, awesome.
I like things that are funny. I like things to be silly and funny and weird. And that's my favorite thing about comics is I like funny books, and I was trying to make a true funny book. And that's really what the Big Mac arc is it's a funny book. And
It was also, after Chrysalis and Nightmarity, which were both pretty heavy, it's like, okay, it's time to just spend a day in Ponyville and see what goes on
and
in
have
just a
fun.
regular day.
And when you write Hasbro and say, I would like to do 2 issues about Big Mac finding a box of nails, they are going to write back an email that says, what?
Like in the beginning, I
And
felt
then
like
you-
they were a little more strict.
Well, I wrote back and I was like, no, it'll be funny.
Yeah. In the beginning, they were a little bit more cautious.
Lots of notes.
They're like, what are you
lots of back
doing?
and forth.
What is this? And then they're like, okay, you guys got this.
Yeah,
So.
they trust us now, so.
All right, now before we let the merc with the mouth over here talk, I got to remind you there is a language restriction.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I'm good.
all right, just making sure.
First off, I love the comics, and I actually thought the troll reference was something done into the Bugs Bunny with the troll. I will call him George, and I will pet him and squeeze him.
Technically, that's from Of Mice and Men.
Of Mice and Men, that's
And that's where Bugs Bunny got it from.
Okay.
So.
Got to act a little more highbrow here.
Yes. And my question is with like doing the different like variant covers, like is that your guys' decision? Like I know with the first issue you guys had the Derpy and all that. That's
actually
That's
that's
IDW.
IDW's choice to do that.
So never come to me and say, you just want all my money for these 30 covers.
There's
I
too many
didn't do
covers.
it.
No, with conventions and comic shops and things like that, they can actually contact IDW and commission a cover if they commit to a particular amount of copies.
Like 1,000 maybe?
I think it's a minimum of 1,000. I can tell you right now, before you come and ask for one for your convention, Hasbro is very strict about what conventions they will allow, because then it appears like Hasbro is endorsing a convention. So it's primarily comic shops and distributors, Midnight Comics and things like that.
Yeah, you're out of luck if you want like YIFCon or something.
Yeah.
My own personal convention in my basement.
Yeah.
Right. But that's all IDW. The variant comics have become very big across the board. DC, Marvel, everybody, the sketch blanks and things like that. So that's all them.
All right.
Thank you.
Over there.
All right, well, we all know the legal reasons why you can't look at fan works and whatnot, but are any of you looking forward to sometime in the very, very, very far future, when you're no longer working on it, being able to go back and look at some of the great fan works that have been done and just read some of the stories and
I
whatnot?
have more than enough to catch up on.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched Battlestar.
Oh.
I have a kid. I watch Yo Gabba Gabba. I know everything going on with Muno, but I have not watched Doctor Who yet. I have more than enough crap that I need to go watch when I get my TV back.
So in 10 years, email you about my fanfiction.
When my kids are in college, then I can go back and watch all the stuff. I have a list started from like 3 years ago of all the stuff I need to catch up on. One day I will figure out what some of the memes on the internet are, because I wrote them down to go see. That's supposed to be funny.
Like, what's Grumpy Cat?
What is that?
What is this Happy Days show
What
I
is
hear so
Happy
much about?
When I
Leave it
catch
to
up
Beaver,
on
huh?
when I catch up on Dobie Gillis, that is when I will find who got that. Yeah, thank you.
Guy
with
in the back.
guy with the gray hair, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Then I will go in and I will catch up on all the million things that I missed out on in the time that I was a mom.
I think I'm pretty up to date on that sort of thing. Like, I probably have the most free time since I'm not married, I'm single, I'm a lone wolf. So, like, I did get to see, I mean, in the convention hall, I bought, like, a Nightmarity plush, and there was this really amazing group on YouTube that did 3 Nightwish-themed Nightmarity songs, and those were amazing, but other than that, I'm not too involved in the fandom, so it is really cool when I see, like, fan art from, like, the comic. Like, I know, didn't you get, like, flaxseed or wheatgrass?
Oh, yeah.
I just got a wheatgrass plush off of eBay.
Aw.
Somebody pointed out to me, look at this wheatgrass plush, and I was like, and I'm astounded with the fan reaction to wheatgrass and flaxseed.
Yeah.
We have seen art, we've seen sculptures, we've seen all kinds of stuff. But when I saw that plushie, I was like, that's mine. And I just got it. He's going to deliver it to me at Cincinnati Comic Con, and I'm really looking forward to that.
The first piece of 3D fan art I will buy is when somebody makes a Cranky Doodle Ryan.
Challenge accepted.
DeviantArt, get on it. All right.
I'd just like to start off and thanking you guys. You guys are a huge blessing to the Brony community for doing this comic. You and all in Memberson and Newfer as well. It's just really rad that you guys do this for us. So I'd just like to start
very
off
much.
doing that. And my question is, at Cincinnati Comic Con, right before the first book was about to come out, I think a person asked a question if there were going to be like villains that you two would create if Hasbro would let you. And I was just wondering, maybe just like a yes or a no. Like,
It'll happen.
It'll happen?
It'll happen.
All right.
Yeah.
And you guys will get some villains that have not been on the show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you guys are going to get things ranging from like the Trixie level up to like the Chrysalis level. So we've got all kinds of goodies.
Jesus, man.
All right. So my quick question was just, I'm quite certain that you all are very well versed in the comic universe. So what would be currently your favorite story arc? Either
Lock and Key.
Lock and Key.
Lock and Key. That's a good one.
Saga.
Saga.
If you are not buying Lock and Key,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you?
I will tell you guys, we hear a lot of people say, because of this comic, it's the first time I've ever been to a comic shop, or you made me get back into comics. Well, I'm going to tell you, when you go to get your next issue, because we're priority,
Of course.
then you also want to request Lock and Key, because it is phenomenal.
And it's almost done, so you can, build up with all the trades and then finish it out with the rest of us.
Yeah, it is a
So,
finite story. It's not an ongoing series. They planned it from start to beginning.
written
and
by
it's
Stephen
excellent.
King's son, Joe Hill. So it's good stuff. Buy it.
And then just to add on to that, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are thinking this, a lot of us geeks, DC or Marvel.
DC or Marvel?
DC.
Yeah, I'm a DC. I have a Wonder Woman tattoo.
I'm Marvel.
She was my hero. So.
All right, all of you Marvel people can leave now.
Well,
I will say I'm part of a mixed marriage because my wife is Marvel and I'm DC. And there's fighting in our house.
That's
all
so
the time.
beautiful.
So
you can bond
you.
like that.
she's very much a Rachel Summers fan, Excalibur fan. I'm Gotham City all the way. So.
I grew up with X-Men, so like the show on Fox, the
Was Archie a choice? I liked Archie. I grew up with Archie.
Sonic the Hedgehog comics.
Did anyone else think that Archie should never have been with Veronica? She was a bitch.
Betty.
And on that note, next question.
Hi, I'm Henrik, and I'm a huge gamer of like League of Legends and Borderlands 2, and both of those games have porn reference. So I was just wondering, are you ever gonna make a game reference in the comics?
Our issue 9 currently has a game reference to
That
the
Andy put in.
BioShock universe.
Oh.
My wife and I am not a gamer. I really am not. I've played a couple. I played Arkham Asylum and the BioShock, and I played the BioShock because the story is so engrossing and the atmosphere is so incredible. And my wife has decided that when we move into a house, she's just going to submerge it underwater. So, but yes, there is a BioShock reference in issue 9.
Yeah, for me, it's I remember that thing I said where I'm a parent. I don't get to play video games anymore.
You can
I
get a
don't.
Wii.
I do
Get
have a
Wii.
Wii.
That's what it's for. It's for children.
Yeah, but I mean, she's gonna look at it. And it's like, then I don't get to do it.
Get a 3DS,
I'm gonna be Wii bowling for the rest of my life. But no, it's I used to love all the Lucasfilm adventure games, the LucasArts ones. So there is a Monkey Island reference for anyone that has spotted it. And one day, again, when I catch up on all the television and the movies that I've missed, I will play a video game that was not made when Tetris was new.
I hear Pitfall is all the rage with the kids these days.
I heard Temple Run was fun.
That
I think like 2 people know what Pitfall is. Y'all just made me feel old. Okay, thank you.
That Pong game is awesome.
The graphics are amazing.
On a note related to that, a lot of people ask us about how we are able to do the references, Magnum PI and MASH and Fringe for those that have caught it. It's basically parody laws.
Parody.
It's the reason why Mad Magazine has been around since the late 50s. It's all covered under parody laws. So.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hi. On my favorites list, you're right behind like Carl Barks and Floyd Gottfredson. And
that's some high
they're
company.
pretty up high on the list. So you're close second.
Thank you. That's incredibly humbling.
I just want to pinch Andy's cheeks right now. Give him an apple glow.
But my question is, what is the deal with the spy pony in the background?
All right. For those of you that have not watched Fringe, shame on you. It is September. It is the observers from Fringe. It's not a spy. It's not the CIA. And if you haven't watched Fringe, there's your incentive to watch it, because once you figure out who the observers are, you're going to start getting a lot of notions. Well, why is he watching the ponies? What do they got planned? You know, but I put Fringe references constantly in the book because it is, to me, the best show that has been on the air in probably the past 20 years.
So you're saying that in 18 years when I can watch TV again,
yes,
I should
you'll
watch
understand.
Fringe? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm starting to watch it, so.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question, maybe two.
Firstly, Andy, the observers are great. Awesome. So my original question was going to be about Luna's awesome t-shirts in number 9. Really well done. So I guess I'll go off of that. Andy, I know you're a big Luna fan. Like to see you draw her for people a lot. What do you like
Luna
about her?
is best pony.
I'm sure my fellow lunatics really liked that, so thanks. So what do you like about Luna so much? Tell us.
What do I like about Luna so much?
Yeah.
First off, I think the whole Nightmare Moon storyline really set the tone of the show. A little bit more industrious, a little bit more inventive. She is, I like to call her, she's the bipolar pony. You know, the fact that she has this tragic Boris Karloff backstory of the monster and that she could be accepted back, I think that's wonderful. Also the fact her design is great, her silhouette is great. I'm very much a night owl, so I can relate. You know, this poor girl is stuck on the night shift every night while her Neapolitan-colored sister gets to lounge around in bed all day. So, but
Wow.
I love her design. I love Tabitha St. Germain's voice, so.
Thanks. I'm sure we're all hoping for a Luna micro series eventually.
Us too.
Us too.
Definitely. It's like Luna kind of became one of my favorites after I saw Lunar Eclipse. It's like, as a colorist, I could kind of relate to her and the whole feeling like people don't really pay attention to you as much. So I was like, Luna, we're kindred spirits. I love you.
All right, so we got time.
We got one more.
Yeah, we have time for one more. There we go.
Yes, I was only able to read the first comic book issue because I have impaired vision. So I got a question. Are you planning on making a voice acting version, like a motion comic?
There is a motion comic in the works. They announced it at San Diego.
Yeah, but is it going to have voice acting like
You
that?
would have to ask IDW. I have absolutely no idea.
It isn't. Bobby addressed it on the forums.
That's
Okay.
the kind of thing that we don't really have.
Yeah, we have no
over.
control over that.
Well, can you make the text bigger at least for visually impaired people like me?
That again, that's something you'd have to contact IDW.
Yeah.
That's beyond our control.
They do have oversized versions.
There is the Treasury edition that was published.
Which
That's
is-
like twice the size.
yeah, it's 11 by
almost the size
17.
of original art.
Okay, thank you.
But I wish I had a better answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're almost out of time. We have one more thing we want to do real quick before we shut down. We've all said how much we appreciate and thank you for what you do. Well, myself and Silvermane, we are from a website called Fob Equestria. We're a military-themed brony website, home of the military bronies. And in the military, there's a little tradition called challenge coins. And what they are is a unit will have a coin made of its motto and insignia, and they give them out to people who have contributed greatly to the unit that we want to show appreciation and thanks for. And so with that, myself and Silverman, we have these special Fob Equestria challenge coins that we'd like to give to you, all three of you. This is just not only for the artwork and the comics you do, but for taking the time to come out here and answer our questions and put up with our general brony weirdness. And we just thank you very much for everything you've done for us, not just for the military bronies, but for everyone out here.
No one challenged me to a drink until after December 13th when I popped the second kid out.
All right. It is.
Then
it is
it's on.
Yeah, it is on.
How many military bronies have we got in here?
Yeah!
I think the military part of this fandom is phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
You guys are great for everything.
And keep
you
your
do.
eyes peeled in issue 10.
Oh.
No, we got something for you in there.
Yeah.
All right.
And you guys let me know where to send comps overseas, because I send them out.
All right, we'll get that. We'll email that. All right, so Andy Price, Katie Cook, Heather Breckel, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you very much. Everyone else, get up on your feet. Get up, let's go. Give it up for them. All right, we hope you enjoy the rest of the con and hope all you enjoy the rest of the convention too. Thank you.
You're gonna make me cry.
I'm already teary-eyed after this.
You guys are great. We love you too. You specifically. Whoever. Not the rest of you, just you.
Not you, but you.
Just you, not you. You suck back there, Golden Vision. You suck. You.
It's going to the Brony.
Oh, good.
We have to show how much we appreciate y'all coming down here, spending all this time with us.
These guys are just making fun of us, and we actually had some people drop the book at that point. Like,
Yeah.
no,
It's like, no,
it's
I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of that guy who I've known for years, and I'm allowed to.
Well, I mean, you can't really blame us because he's big, he's dumb, and he plays.
That
with
is
little,
you
with
making
little
fun of yourself right
You
now.
said that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm saying, okay. If,
He just insulted
hold up,
all
hold
of
up
you.
now. Just let's hold the phone. Driver, stop. Pump the brakes a little bit here, and we're gonna move on before I embarrass myself any further. So, okay.
Not me.
Yes.
All right, getting back on track a little bit. What I'd like to ask, since I
We're on
like
track.
enjoy writing, when you guys do the story arcs, do you have it all planned out in advance, exactly where it's going, or does it kind of take over sometimes and lead you in a strange little directions?
For me, it's, I have to pitch all 4 issues itself to Hasbro first and kind of tell them where the arc is going. And then I write them, one after the other. And sometimes it leads me in a different direction. And sometimes they get really, really crazy. I cannot, at the moment, in case you did not know, I am 5 months pregnant. So my writing is going to be...
Congratulations.
Yeah, very... That's why I am not fat, I am pregnant right now. Everybody should realize that.
A little brony in the oven. How sweet.
But my writing is very, very different for the upcoming arcs because there is not 2 bottles of wine in every issue.
Wow. I think the child wouldn't understand. I had to drink while I was pregnant with you because, hey, ponies.
Anybody who loves the Rarity Micro, there is 2 very nice bottles of Malbec in that book that my parents paid for, so I was like, of course I'm gonna drink 2 bottles of wine in one day and write a comic about ponies for little girls.
That's what you do. Now, you mentioned having the kick thing, have to run things past Hasbro. So, of course, the question comes up, what is it like working with the evil corporate overlords of Hasbro? The demonic... this is the... What's the official name of this panel? It's Cook, Price, and Heckle Omai. Breckel. I'm sorry. How to
All of
start your
that.
panel.
It's
Make a
already
complete
ruined.
idiot out of yourself. Great. So, I'm Tweak, and over there, the Ancient One, Silvermane.
Hello, everybody. How you doing tonight? Glad to be here.
Tonight, dude, it's 11:45 in the morning.
It's night somewhere.
He's an old man. He needs his nap. Anyway, we are joined by some very talented people here. They are the minds and the hands behind the My Little Pony comic series. We have Andy Price. Yes, you gotta remember they're artists. They live off of praise. We got Katie Cook.
Hey, everybody. Woo. Damn right. If it's
Yeah.
not louder than Andy's, I'm gonna be really mad.
Better do it.
And then Heather Breckel.
Ponies.
Ponies, always for the ponies.
Ponies.
I forgot my little question cheat sheet. So, I dropped something. Don't worry about that. That's fine. We're only live on the internet. No one cares. Okay, so I believe everyone out here has read the comics. Yes.
Yes.
No one just wandered in for the random people. I'm going to follow them. Okay, good. So, How many of the comics, because I know that there's been several other artists and writers that have worked on it, how many of them have been this trio right here?
Issues 1 through 4, the Return of Chrysalis arc is us, the Rarity Micro, the Big Mac arc, and the upcoming Shining Armor and Cadence, and a micro that we have not announced yet.
Ooh.
And then along with God knows how long this is going to go on. So
And
Forever.
Also, I'm the only one. I've been on the most issues. I'm on 1 through 12. I believe I'm also going to be up to 14. I'm also on.
We do collaborate. We go back and forth on specific ideas. Some are mine, some are hers. It just depends on what we want to do.
People need to remember that Andy and I have been friends for years before we started doing this comic. So it's like working on a comic with your buddy. And
Have you done any other comics together?
oh God, we'd kill each other if we did anything else. No, it's just we've known each other from cons and hanging out, and you know, Andy has stayed at my house. He knows my cats. You know,
Hey, that's a big step in friendship, is getting to know the cats, because the
Yes.
cats they'll kill you if they don't like you.
Could you tell us real quick how you got involved with doing it for My Little Pony? Were you approached, or did you approach IDW to start this? And did you expect it to get it as big as it is?
well, I'll start that one because I was approached by IDW first, and the editor is a fan of my work, and we've wanted to do some stuff for a while, and he really likes my webcomic, so he emailed me one day and said, would you like to do ponies? And I said, okay. And that is the entirety of how I got to do the pony comic. That is the whole story.
Truly an emotional journey.
It was. It is. It
an
was
epic
tears.
quest of
It's-
self-discovery.
It's a trilogy, actually.
Kate Blanchett is going to be portraying her in the film version.
Oh, wow. We couldn't get Leo DiCaprio, but we'll get someone.
And unfortunately, they cast Jim Belushi for me.
Yeah.
I thought Paul Giamatti was up for it, and that was just.
Oh, you mentioned making the horror movie references, so I have to ask, of course, what are your favorite horror movies? Because in the book we had The Shining, It, Temple of Doom, which is awesome.
In issue 4, we reference Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Stephen King's It, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the
Shining,
1929 Phantom of the Opera, The Shining, Stephen Kubrick's The Shining, or Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and
Evil Dead was there as well. They had
yes,
the closed door.
Evil Dead.
And the Rarity and Applejack micros.
Have you mentioned what you do yet?
Yes.
I
You're
color
the colorist, and he's also the inker, so of course I have to ask, what's it like being a tracer?
I'm not an inker, actually. He's the inker.
Oh.
I was the colorist.
Then I'll ask you then.
Yeah, it's so funny. We had this conversation before. Heather is the colorist who does all the amazing, amazing colors on Andy's inks and pencils and amazing stuff, and makes us look like we do a lot more work than
Like we actually
do.
know what we're doing.
Makes us look good.
And then I just write the words.
You get the easy job.
Yak, 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 yak.
You probably take the most heat, though.
I do. I'm the one that gets the most notes.
Like, you got this character out of character.
What's
wrong with you?
I get all the emails.
So speaking of all of that, I noticed that especially in the later arcs, there's a whole lot of movie references and all these things going on in the background that's just in the artwork. I'm wondering two things. Number one, do you collaborate on that, or is that all the artist things? And do you have to get permission to include those sort of movie references and stuff?
It depends on what it is. We go back and forth. There are things that Katie will say in the script deliberately. And then beyond that, while I'm working on the art, Katie and I are constantly texting. I'm going to do this. I dare you. You go right ahead. Yeah.
It's like I double dog dare you.
You know, like for example, in issue 1, the Blues Brothers, that was me. But in issue 4, with all the series of doors with the horror film references, that was really Katie going, okay, what movie? She texted me, what movies do you like? And we went back and forth, and then she was like, okay, we want this, we want Pennywise from It, we want the Phantom of the Opera. But this is what divides men and women. And then Phantom of the Opera, she had, come with me, my darling. So she's like, okay, the Michael Crichton, Andrew Lloyd Webber Phantom, that's girls. I'm like, no, Lon Chaney.
It's got to be the Lon Chaney pony.
That's guys. So, but Evil Dead 2 specifically, and there's another one. I'm missing one.
Yeah. There's Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 1.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers in issue 1 was basically the theme of the whole story, really.
Yeah.
But as far as a favorite horror film, I don't know if I can pick one, because I'm a very big horror aficionado, especially classic horror, Universal Monsters, Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff. But The Changeling with George C. Scott is probably one of the creepiest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites is like, I really like the more obscure ones. Like, I really like Suspiria and...
It's Dario Argento, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his stuff's great. I also really like Inside, which is like one of the only movies to really horrify me because there's a scene that they kill a cat and I can't watch it.
Yeah. We can eat your soul, and that's fine, but don't kill the cat.
Yeah, for me, it's I like things that are more psychological thrillers. So for me, it's stuff like The Shining and
Like Seven and movies like that.
yeah, things that kind of put me on the edge of my seat and make me uncomfortable.
Aha.
Yeah. Like, what's in the box?
Okay, so we noticed all these movie references in the background, and we were talking about earlier about the one particular character that is an insert of a friend of yours. I wanted to know, I think it was issue 2 when they go in the cave and they meet the cave troll. The pretty pony, I will suck his head and call him George.
Yeah, it is.
So I just have to, of course, ask: Are you trying to say something to us?
No,
it's
it's
is that a message you see?
Everyone that said, "Oh, she's making fun of bronies," or "That's a shout out to bronies," no, I am making fun of Jim Miller, who is he was the lead storyboard artist on My Little Pony, and now he is the assistant director for season 4. His nickname is Big Jim. He's just a big guy, and I said, "I'm going to put you in the comics." So I wrote him as a troll. And then Andy
naturally
designed the troll. And so that is we are making fun of a specific brony, not bronies in general.
No.
Aha, okay.
And unfortunately, when that came out, a lot of people was like, oh,
Mad.
well.